Hey folks, welcome back to AOK Urban Homestead. If you're new to the channel, my name is Thack and I have started homesteading inside the city, and I wanted to show you guys what I'm doing and take you along with me on my journey. As you can see here, we have a lot of tomatoes. Come back and we'll process these together. Well, if you're back, that means you've liked so far what you have seen. What I have here is about 140 pounds, give or take a few pounds that we already gave away to friends and family. We are going to follow the Ball Complete book of home preserving, and we're going to do a few recipes. Last year we used this book as our guide to preserve and process our tomatoes and our vegetables from the garden. And we absolutely loved the delicious recipes they offered. So that's what we're going to do again this year. But this year, man, we're going to probably go all out because we ran out of pizza sauce early. We ran out of salsa before snow even came down. So we're absolutely going to do a lot of those this year. And then I think we're going to do a third recipe, but I don't know what yet. I will have to consult my friend that went in on with me on this, on these tomatoes. And so, yeah, we'll have a third recipe. How did I come upon these tomatoes? Well, normally they cost between $4, $5, and $6 a pound, but because these are ugly tomatoes, that's what they call them, or cracked tomatoes, we got them for close to 70 cents a pound. So we could not pass it up. We have a lot of tomatoes in our garden, but they're not quite ripe yet. So we'll do something with those later on. Folks, we're going to be making pizza sauce. I'm going to kind of tell you a little bit of what goes in there, but for right now, we're going to get to coring and cutting these tomatoes up. Well, folks, welcome to my processing station. First off, we're going to do is we are going to core and cut up 57 pounds, 60 pounds, somewhere around there of tomatoes. And then we will later on add our lime juice, oregano, black pepper, salt, and garlic powder to the pizza sauce. But man, I got a lot of work to do to core and get these tomatoes ready. But folks, in this roaster is where I'm going to get it. If I have to, I'll have a second roaster. But I wanted to show you guys a neat little trick. When you're using these roasters, they can scald the outside, the edges here. So if you guys put some water at the very bottom, it will keep it at a nice constant temperature that will not scald your pan. So that's my little trick that I usually do. All right, folks, I am gonna get started. Sharp knife first.
All right, folks. So I'm gonna be honest with you. I did not use the right kind of tomatoes to make sauces. I am actually using a very runny, ripe tomato, and you should be using Amish paste or Romas or something that is fleshier, that is not so juicy. It does help so that you don't have to boil down your tomatoes that long. Overnight is how I'm going to do this one.
Well, folks, we had to use both roasters. So now all this is going to do is cook down and like turn into hopefully a pasty mess tomorrow. Then we'll add all our seasonings tomorrow. We're just going to let this cook down overnight. That's why we love using the roasters, because it's basically just put it in here and let it cook down. So we'll come back tomorrow to add our seasoning to finish this off. But Brenda and I still have to cut up a ton of tomatoes for salsa. I'm not going to bore you with that. Once I get it all cut up, then I'll show you guys how all the other ingredients that we add on to the salsa. And we still got to figure out our third recipe. So we'll see you guys later once these are all cooked down. Well, good morning, folks. As you can see here, that sauce is really cooked down, but I'm going to let it cook down some more. I'm going to season it after it cooks down a little bit more, and then we're going to submerge and blend that sauce. But we said we were going to do a third recipe, and we finally figured it out. It's not really going to be a recipe. We are going to freeze dry some of the tomatoes so that way we could use it as tomato powder instead of buying tomato paste. It's a good way of getting fresh tomato powder so that way there's no preservatives or anything like that we have to deal with. And it really helps thicken sauces and stuff. Brenda is on a low potassium diet, so we don't like stuff with added salt in it. Yeah, so that's what we're gonna do.
Alright folks, as you see here, I'm cutting some parchment paper to size for the trays, freeze dryer trays. And let me tell you guys, if you have something that's sticky, like some berries or something, or these very wet tomatoes, it will absolutely help you save a lot of time, save a mess, save it from sticking to the trays. Even though they come off, those trays wash really well because they're stainless steel. But hey, if it saves you time, it's worth it.
Well, folks, I think it's time to start blending up the, what sauce are we making? Pizza sauce, so it can thicken nicely so we know how thick it is. If it's not thick enough by the time we want to start canning, I will add a little bit of tomato paste, but I'm pretty sure it will be pretty nice and thick. Well, folks, before I submerge and blend this, I am going to season it. And that way, when I do submerge and blend it, it will get it all nice and incorporated while it's cooking down. It'll keep seasoning the sauce even more. So, I did multiply this, I think, by 5. So, this is by 2.5, and the other one is by 2.5. Yeah, so I don't remember the exact measurements without being it multiplied. So I might try and link that in the description box below, the recipe for the single batch. But yeah, let's get to seasoning. Now it calls for lemon juice, but I don't have lemon juice, and lime juice is the same acidity, so I'm going to go with the lime juice. Because I have a lot of lime juice. Let's see. That'll help it thicken also. And then next is our oregano. Now this is oregano from our garden. So, oh, it's going to be so good. All right, let's see, 5 teaspoons of that. Now, I did go over it because it hasn't been, what do you call it, chopped up. So, once it chops up, it'll be a lot better, or about the same measurement, right? So, I forgot my black pepper. I'll be right back. All right, so 1, 2, where's my half measurement? Well, there's just 2 of these. This calls for 2.5 teaspoons for the 5 times thing. And then, so as far as salt goes, I love sea salt when I'm canning. It just tastes better, you know, so. All right, and then garlic powder. This is not the original jar because this is freeze dried. There we go. All right, now I'm going to submerge and blend this and get it all incorporated together. Folks, be very, very careful because this is hot. All right, here we go. Like I said, please be very careful. It is so hot. Alright folks, now I'm going to go use the same ingredients in the other pot, and then we're just going to let it cook down. Well folks, Susan's here. I have all the rest of the tomatoes chopped up. All we're going to do now is put it through the food processor. So we're going to do this by, we're multiplying it times 4. So we need 28 cups of tomatoes done. Yeah, that's it. We're learning math today. Anyways, yeah, that's all we're going to do. And then we're going to chop all the ingredients that go inside it. I was going to film more, but look, my light's out. I got to get an electrician to come fix it. It's shorted. So anyways, yeah, that's what we're going to do for now, and then we'll chop stuff. Well, folks, in there, we have, are you ready? 56 cups of tomatoes, 12 cups of onions, 6 cups of jalapenos, 16 garlic cloves. I'm sorry, the jalapenos got me. We are about to put in 6 tablespoons of cilantro. We're going to put in 6 cups of lemon juice, 4 tablespoons of salt, 4 teaspoons of black pepper, and 4 tablespoons of sugar. Then we will put in 8 cups of cilantro, mix it all up, and give it a taste. I'm not going to show you guys me and all the chopping and dicing like we did last year. It was a long day, a long video that day. Almost a year ago, right? Almost a year ago. We did something like 100 and something jars in one day. Water bathing, pressure canning, and everything last year. I will look those videos up and I'll put it right there and let you guys see it. Anyways, yeah, I'm going to keep chopping jalapenos. I'll see you guys in a bit. Well, folks, we have kind of an assembly line going. I'm doing the cooking, Susan's canning it up, and then Brenda is actually water bathing for us. There she is. She's doing all the water bathing. She's got, what, 2 loads in right now?
Yeah, one's almost done.
One's almost done. So the pizza sauce, we're water bathing for 35 minutes, guys. Yeah, so it's going along a lot faster. Last time we did not get done until man, it was dark. We were getting eaten up by mosquitoes and everything else. We're getting things a little bit better dialed in this year. Well, folks, we are on the home stretch. We are now, this is the final touch. Cilantro is the final touch on any salsa. Unless, of course, you don't like cilantro and you don't use it, then you're done. But we like it. So, anyways, folks, I'm going to put this in there. And then we're going to show you how beautiful this all looks. Hey there. Fresh. This is our first salsa of the year. Mmm.
So good.
Wasn't it? All right. Taste test. All right, guys. We're all here to taste test. Can you put some on my chin? All right. Ooh, that's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mmm.
Just gonna just drink it.
She didn't say anything. That means she likes it. All right, guys. So we're gonna jar these up, and we're gonna get them. Yeah. Water bathing. Brenda is gonna be the busiest now. Well, we still have a lot of tomatoes left. I think we're gonna do just canned diced tomatoes, and then we're gonna also do pasta sauce. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do, pasta sauce. Because man, I love marinara type sauce and stuff like that. So anyways, that's what we're gonna do next. But we're gonna reset the kitchen. We're gonna eat some lunch, and then we'll be back. Well, folks, that's 20 pounds of semi chopped up blended tomatoes. We decided to make marinara sauce. So I'm going to get all the rest of the ingredients and we'll put it in there. And then it cooks for 1 hour. Then we'll submerge and blend it and then cook it for another 2 hours before canning. Alright, so we already have some onions all like peeled and waiting for the chopper or the, geez, long day already. The food processor. Susan's peeling garlic. This is the garlic from our garden. The onions are from our garden. So almost everything is Iowa made. Hey, wait. Everything is Iowa made. Yeah. Alright guys, so we're going to start seasoning. We're going to go with a half teaspoon of black pepper. It's all that it called for, so we're doubling. So it's a full teaspoon. So 2 teaspoons of basil. But you know what? I love basil. We're going with 3. And then it says 4 oregano. So I don't think I have 4 in here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh wow! I'll put them together here in a minute. And then now we're switching to tablespoons, and they want us to have 6 total. This is the 2 measure. 1, 2, makes it 6. All right, and then 6 olive oils also. And we have only 2 teaspoons of sugar and 4 teaspoons of salt. Guys, use sea salt. It doesn't taste as bitter when you go to can it. Or you can even use mineral salt. And that's it. And since we like things spicy, we're gonna add 6 jalapenos in there. Well, folks, we were gonna make our own homemade rotel, but we didn't have all the ingredients here, and we did not want to run to the store to get it. So we're gonna make tomato soup. I love grilled cheese and tomato soup, so what a perfect thing to make. So all it's gonna do is stew down. I'll can it tomorrow, but let me tell you the ingredients. 14 pounds of tomatoes, because we doubled it. Why not? Alright folks, so all we're using here, and I'm going to use Himalayan pink salt for this one. We need 3 teaspoons of salt, 1 teaspoon of black pepper. Oh, sorry guys. 3. Oh, there's the old oregano. Tablespoons of oregano. Well, that's almost gone. We'll use some of this one. There we go. And then we are going to use 3 teaspoons of basil. And it actually calls for garlic powder instead of real garlic, so it says 3 teaspoons of that. And then it calls for 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. These are half tablespoons, so I gotta go 6, right? Yep. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Making it 3. And then 1 can of tomato paste that I will open up and put in. Alright? And then this is just going to stew until tomorrow. And then I'll submerge and blend that and get it a nice thick soup. Well folks, half of these are going home with Susan since, well, she helped with the process and we always share. So I just wanted to show it to you guys before they all go away. Well, half of them go away, and then we'll finish the rest tomorrow. Well, good morning, folks. It is the next day, and well, I already submerged and blended this, and let me tell you, this tomato soup is probably the best tomato soup I've ever had. So I am not going to water bath this. In order to make it stable to water bath, I have to add lime juice or lemon juice to each jar. And you know what? I don't want to compromise the flavor, so I'm going to pressure can this. So yeah, 1-inch headspace, pressure can for 15 minutes at 11 pounds of pressure. I think I will take you through that process today. I have just added a little bit of butter to try and take the foam down. That's why I am stirring it right now. But I am going to take you through the process of canning this. We didn't take you through the process of water bathing, but I am going to put water bath times in the description box for each thing that we did yesterday. And I'm going to try my best to put the recipes in there. But, you know, it belongs to Ball, the Ball book of canning. So, home preservation, sorry. So I don't really want to, like, cheat them, I guess. But if you have the Ball book, you can look at it. Anyways, I'm going to get the foam down. I'm going to jar these up, and then we're going to start pressure canning together. Alright, so someone did comment a while back to go step by step. So I'm going to tell you what you need. You're going to need your funnel. It fits right on top of here. Well, first off, you're going to need to wash and sterilize your jars and lids and bands. Let me show you. This is the lid. This is the band. Some people call it a ring also, okay? So I already did that process. Now, they said when I said 1-inch headspace, I have this tool right here, and it tells you so this is a 1/4 inch from the top, 1/2 inch, 3/4, and 1 inch. So what you'll do is you'll take this, turn it up, and there's 1 inch. So the food should not touch the bottom of this green stick. Then when I talk about debubbling, I actually flip this over and you go through and you debubble so there's no air pockets in there. With soup, I don't do that as much because it's soup. It's all supposed to be liquid with no air. Now I do have the air bubbles on top, the foam. Those usually stay on top, so I don't worry about it. Okay? So I also know that my green scoop is 1 inch from the top. So I'll show you guys that real quick here once I start filling. This also helps you keep stuff away from the rim of the jar. Less cleanup afterwards, in other words, because you want the lids to be completely clean. All right, so it's at the very bottom of my funnel. I see that, and I stop, right? Then I take this. Nothing is touching. So now I know it's 1 inch, okay? That's how I figure it out, and I keep it clean as much as possible. So I'm just gonna finish filling these jars, and I'll be back. Alright guys, that's enough to fill my canner. So I'm just gonna put this in a big jar, and I'll probably have it for supper or lunch sometime this week because it is so delicious. I forgot to tell you guys, when you put these lids on, you're just gonna center it the best you can. Inspect your lids, even though I already did when I was cleaning them, to make sure there's no white spots where the orange is right here. Because if there's a white spot, it could mean there's missing rubber, and it will not seal properly, okay? Look for dents and stuff like that on here. This one is not as important. This is your important product. Make sure that there's no dents or anything along the edges. You put it on. So when you put this on, you're going to put it, what they say is finger tight. That means you tighten it with your fingers. Don't wrench down with your wrist. So it's tightened with my fingers. That's that one. So I already inspected them all before, so that's the good thing. Finger tight. The reason why is you want the pressure canner to get all that pressurized air out, so that way it can really seal in all the goodness, but take out all the bad, I guess you could say. And now let's talk about the headspace. The headspace, the reason why they say 1 inch is there's this thing they call siphoning. If you don't have enough air pocket or headspace, it will siphon. While it's boiling, it's gonna siphon out, and then you're gonna get all your liquids out into your water, and then it more than likely will not seal because all your inside stuff is already on the outside. Now, I also forgot the step where I did already take a nice paper towel and wiped all the rims. All I did was wet it in some warm water with a touch of vinegar. Some people say don't ever use vinegar, but you know what? Because they say that it ruins the seal. I don't believe that because it evaporates. So that's why I use just a touch vinegar and water. Okay? Alright folks, so let's talk about our canner. This is the Presto canner. I have an electric top, and I was told, and I believe, because I've been canning on this electric top for, well, years now. Let's talk about this. So you have to have your canner, of course, a bottom plate that separates the heat from the jars. You only need water about 2 inches above that plate. You need to make sure that your gasket, your seal, is good still. And then you have a weight. I have a 15-pound weight that I put on here when I am ready to use it. And so I'm going to get the water in here, get the jars in here, and we'll go from there. All right, that's about as much water as I'm going to want in there. Let me show you. See that? Because when you put the cans in, it will come up. So, since all of the stuff in my jars, the tomato soup, is warm, I already started this so that it can warm up the water. You want cold water with cold stuff. You want warm water with warm stuff and hotter water with hot stuff, or else you can potentially break your jars. All right, so this is the last jar going in. On my canner, it has arrows that I need to line up. So, you will make sure that it's all seated well. You saw that, it dropped down. And now you're just going to turn that until it locks. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to let this slowly come up to temp. Do not crank it on high. Just let it slowly come up to temp. And then it's going to vent for 10 minutes.
I don't know what happened to my audio right here, but anyways, I just pointed to this thing that pops up. Once that pops up, I will set the timer for 10 minutes before I put on my weight, so that way it is very well vented.
All I'm going to do now is put the weight right here on that. There we go. And we'll wait for it to come up to temp. Alright guys, it has come up to temp. I will set the timer now for 15 minutes. And then we'll come back when the timer goes off. Alright folks, all I'm going to do is now shut off the timer and shut off my stove. I will let this depressurize. It doesn't matter how long it takes. I'm not going to touch this canner. Just let it depressurize. Once it gets to 0, I will let it take that weight off, and I'll just let it sit for another 10-15 minutes, and then I will open up the lid. Oops. Alright folks, this has been sitting a while at 0. I'm going to go ahead and take this off. I'm going to let it sit for another 10 minutes. This has been sitting for its full 10 minutes. All I'm going to do now is take the lid off. Guys, please be very careful because there's going to be a lot of hot steam under there. Point it away from you. Let it go. Alright, so this thing here is very handy. It will take your jars out. It's rounded, so that way it grips the jar. Silicone. You got a nice plastic handle so you don't burn yourself. You're just going to take this out and you're going to set it out on your counter for 24 hours. Don't touch it. Don't do anything to it. Just leave it for 24 hours to make sure that it has sealed nicely. Folks, if you enjoyed this video, please come back and check out more videos from us. How about you consider subscribing if you're new to the channel? I want to thank each and every one of you for following through. Until next time, stay blessed and be A-OK.